This art project is inspired by the element of line. Lines can be used to define shapes and figures, and it also creates motion and emotions within an image. Since it's the autumn season, I'm using pumpkins as my subject. Here are the materials that we need. You can decide whether to put your paper in a portrait or landscape orientation. I'm deciding to do mine using the portrait orientation. First, we need to draw in the pumpkins. Do a variety of shapes for your pumpkins. Most of mine will have sides that bulge outward, a bottom that is somewhat flat because it's resting on the ground, and then on the top, I like to create a bumpy, wavy-ish line so that it creates the bulges of the pumpkin. I'm overlapping some of the pumpkins to show the depth of the image. I'll have some pumpkins more closer to the forefront and some a little bit further back. You can just draw the pumpkins and then go in and erase some of your lines. For the stems, I like to create a lower section that is thicker and it gets smaller as it goes up. And then I usually have my stems curved to one side. After the line drawing, you want to take your fine point marker and go in and outline all your pumpkins. And then I'll go in with my eraser to clean off the pencil lines. Taking a ruler, we're going to draw a line that represents the edge of the table. I have the line going a little slanted and then doing it over with the marker. And be careful not to go over your pumpkins. The line should go behind the pumpkins. Now taking the ultra fine point marker, we're going to create vertical lines for the background. Because we're not using the pencil first and just going in with the marker, you have to make sure you are going slowly and carefully with your lines. Make sure you firmly hold your ruler down so that it won't budge when you draw your lines. I'm carefully eyeballing to make sure that I have the same distance in between the lines. The more lines you have, the better it will look. Now we're going to create more of these lines, but they're going to be going in the other direction, going left and right for your table. Just like how we did the first set of lines, starting at the edge of the table, just eyeball carefully the distance between each line. Try to make them as even as you can. Be careful not to go over the pumpkins. Now taking the pencil, we're going to draw the lines that make up the bulges of our pumpkin. I start on the top where there is a dip in the line. I go and make that line that curve down towards the bottom. Afterwards, I go over these lines with the thicker marker and then erase the pencil lines. Taking the ultra fine marker, I'm creating the lines that go up and down on the pumpkin. I'm using the thicker lines to guide me on how to curve my thinner lines. Now the only areas that we need to create lines for are the stems. I'm going to create lines that go left and right, so I'll rotate my paper so that it's easier to do. And that is it. You are done with this project. I think it turned out really nicely and it looks really cool with all the lines going in different directions. It gave us a lot of practice on the element of line, which is always a bonus. I had so much fun that I did another one. Instead of pumpkins, I used bottles and jars. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.